Nationals MP Barnaby Joyce joins me here in the studio. Of course, once upon a time, Nationals leader. Personal reflections, first of all, on this day. You met the Queen?
Yeah, I met the Queen. It was a great honour, and Prince Philip. And the thing that struck me is how polite she was, how engaging she was. And as a politician, I thought, how many years have you been doing this? Imagine what's actually going through your head. That all these people you've met, and you're not rude, you don't get tired, you know, and after 70 years, and we really can't think of a time where she disgraced herself, did something wrong, embarrassed us, and it is service, believe you me, it would be a hell to deal with that. It'd be every day, cameras in your face, every day, people trying to find flaws, and you are responsible as the ultimate pinnacle of power, even if it's only in a ceremonial form or a figurative form, but it really does give people a sense of stability and gives people a sense of, you know, in Australia, we've never had a civil war, we've never had anything go wrong. So, you know, great loss, but an incredible life of service.
And the service is interesting because people say, well, you know, they've never wanted for anything, they eat off whatever metal their cutlery is made of, but I wouldn't want to swap my life for theirs. Where do you sort of let your hair down? Where do you just not care about anything? When do you can't, they don't even go to the beach for a month. You know, their holidays are sort of off behind closed doors because you're always the Queen. It never ends.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have palaces to give yourself some modicum of privacy, but the palace becomes a prison because that's where you can't go down the street and buy a carton of milk. You can't say, I'm going to get on my push bike and go for a ride around unless you want to take a coterie of bodyguards with you and have people clapping and cheering or whatever. And if you say, oh, well, they can just step away. Well, no, they actually can't. They actually can't just step away because that would be highly irresponsible. And that's why the whole sort of issue of service, why it's an issue of service, and think of all the charities they're involved with, all the causes they've driven. I think that Queen Elizabeth was a real compass of decency, and people would look at her and say, as a human being, an incredibly decent human being that lived an incredibly honourable life.
It was hard for people to know the true Queen, even if you've met her, because you see her at sort of, ceremonial moments. I love some of the anecdotes. The favourite one today was a palace worker, I suppose you'd call them, was talking to a couple of American tourists, and the Queen sidles up, and they had no idea who she was, so they all get talking, and they didn't clock who she was, and she played along with it. And at the end of it, she was taking a photo of them with the palace worker because they thought we better get a shot with this bloke. I mean, that sort of that mischievous sense of humour there, and they walked off. She made sure they got a photo of her too, and they walked off. She thought, I wonder one day what they're going to say when they show that photo to some of their relatives.
I think they'll probably kick themselves they never put it on the photo. But doesn't that show the position and the office and the actual ego of the person, which didn't supplant the office and didn't rise above the office, that they understood their office, and as a human being, their ego and their humanity was something separate. So
I think the time today is obviously going to be a lot about Queen Elizabeth II. There is a tweet from Adam Bandt, the Greens leader. He says, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II. Our thoughts are with her family and all who loved her. Now, Australia must move forward. We need treaty with First Nations people. We need to become a republic.
Totally tone deaf. You know, as you reporters say, everything before the word but you forget, and just read what is the subsequent part. Today is not the day you play politics, and this sort of buffoonery of using this as a soapbox to push your political agenda. Why not just reflect on the dignity and grace of a human being who's passed away, the service they did, reflect on that, reflect on how that is a compass to how people in public life should live. There will be times in the future...
The conversation's coming, but the point is you don't need to do that.
The conversation's coming, but it's not today. If we turn it on its head and the Prime Minister passed away, I would not be saying I'm really looking forward to the election.
Barnaby Joyce, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.